Howdy folks, Jabberiki here, and welcome to another episode of Film Chums, the Valentine's Day special to be precise. And joining me is my co-host, Viva Becca.
The Love Show. Today's episode, we will be talking about The Love Show, which is this show. Because, howdy folks, welcome to the Valentine's Day episode of The Love Show.
We retitled the show now.
Yep.
We're just stuck in this void of romantic movies.
Yeah.
Okay, so to celebrate Valentine's Day, we're going to be talking about 5 different romantic anime movies. We don't really talk about anime that much on this show, so thought we'd dive more into it. We should. I've definitely got some ideas for the future. So, Viva, how do you feel about romance anime in general?
Romance anime in general, I don't really watch too much of it. I think I saw that one romance anime, and I think that's it. The one with, like, the girl that is in the host club. Or in high school. I saw that one.
Ouran High School Host Club. Yeah, I love that one. I love it. Yeah. For me, I love romantic anime. If I was to like rank the genres I watch the most of anime, it'd be like number 1 would be slice of life, and number 2 would be romantic. Hence why a lot of this anime I watch is just romantic slice of life. I try to hunt those kind of shows down. So yeah, I'm a big fan. This is my field.
So I already know which movie is your favorite one then.
So which movie do you want to start off with?
Let's do the one that people actually want to hear about, which is Your Name, because that's the one that everybody knows about.
Pretty much. Out of all the ones we're going to be talking about, it's the most famous one, yeah.
In Your Name, Mitsuha and Taki are 2 high school students who begin swapping bodies when they go to sleep, and they have no idea why this is happening. They decide to set boundaries for each other's lives, but don't always follow the rules. Suddenly, the body swapping stops, so Taki goes on an adventure to find out where Mitsuha lives, but soon learns that she was killed in a comet collision on her town. Taki feels that he's been given a chance to save Mitsuha, so he finds a way to swap bodies with her again, and a race to save Mitsuha's town from the falling comet begins.
So Viva, what do you think of Your Name?
I think that it's pretty fun. I think it's a nice watch. It's something that can really, you can really get into it. I think it looks really nice. I think it's pretty standard kind of romance. Well, actually, I don't know if I can say standard because I don't know that much about it, but it seemed similar to the other movies that we watched, except for a little bit more polished.
So, a little background with this one. It was directed by Makoto Shinkai, and before he made this film, it was only weebs that knew of him, and most of the anime that he was making were very, very artsy, kind of pretentious movies, and like they weren't really getting that big. And then he made Your Name, and then he suddenly become a household name. So yeah, but even with those older, even before he made Your Name, he was known for making very atmospheric, beautifully animated films.
Yeah, it looks nice. I would say it gets kind of artsy as well. Probably not as artsy as his other stuff, but it does get kind of artsy at the end.
So I did watch this movie when it came out in cinemas, and I loved it. And then I kept watching it again and again when it came on Netflix. It's become one of my comfort films. But when I really stopped to look at the romance, yeah, I'd say the romance is probably my least favorite thing about it. Because I feel like these characters fall more in love with each other's lives than each other. Would you agree?
Yeah. First of all, I'm like really jealous because I bet it would look good on the big screen.
Oh, so good.
I haven't seen it. I've seen it on computer screen, and that's it. So that's disappointing. Yeah, well, I would say what romance, but honestly, all of the movies I was like, what romance though? So I don't know if I would classify it as a romance movie, in my opinion. I don't think so.
It's often been classed as one, and it's like one of the big ones whenever you bring up romance anime. But yeah, it kind of, I feel like it shouldn't have tried to frame it in a romantic way, because sometimes it, like, especially towards the end when they finally meet each other in person, they try to make it a romantic kind of thing, and they're like, they've not even met each other before. it's kind of weird. But yeah. what I've worked out reasons why I do like it. Even though the romance is like for me. I feel like it's just the weirdness of it, and like the feelings it creates because of like the haunting fever dream premise. If you get my drift.
Yeah, I think they do a good job of coming up with like a thematic premise and then actually explaining it so that people know what's going on.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Because and it doesn't do it in a way where it's like, okay, this is why this is happening. This is how they got to deal with it and that kind of stuff. There's no exposition dumping.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of get drip fed like, oh, so that's what happens. Oh, that's a rule. Okay. And then towards the end of the film, then it all clicks like, oh.
Have you watched it raw with anybody, though? Because I went into it when it was releasing, and it was a big thing, and everyone was talking about what happens in the movie, so I kind of knew what was going to happen already.
So, yeah, because I saw it in cinemas, and I didn't see any reviews of it, and I heard nothing about it, so yeah, I did go into it completely fresh. And I do remember the twist being like, wait, what, whoa, what?
Okay, cool.
And I do like the I really do like the twist, because like it does give you that sinking feeling of like, oh, everything that we thought we knew is like it doesn't add up anymore, and you're like, oh, it just turns your entire perspective on the film all the way over. And I really like this idea of characters finding a connection between two different times, and in one of those time periods, one of them has died. There's just something really both kind of creepy and poignant about that. But yeah, I like I was saying before, I like the emotions that it gives me, and the idea of being in a nowhere town where you crave a more exciting life in a bigger city. I kind of had that growing up because I lived in nowhere. So I did resonate with that, with like all these teenagers being like, there's nothing to do here, I wish we lived in a bigger city. I was like that. I lived on the outskirts of Sheffield, which is kind of, so I lived in a place where people argued where it even was. So it was that nowhere-esque. And like it was you were kind of lucky if you could ever go to the city centre. So I really did resonate with these teenagers who were just like really wanting more, and like thinking, is this all there is?
Yeah, I like how they work that in, because they're complaining about it, but then the town disappears,
Even though I don't feel like the romance has held up as much as when I first saw the film, everything else about it, I can now see why it's one of my comfort films.
Yeah, I would say watch it if you want like a poetic experience about the nature of time and people's connections to each other in the past and stuff. Maybe don't watch it if you want like a romance movie.
It is very much about like the timeline's relationship with each other. As strange as that sounds. You have to see the film to get what I mean. I have to say my favourite part of the whole film, though, is just the finale, because it's so damn exciting. Like, the stakes are really high, the adults are making everything almost impossible, crazy sacrifices having to be made, plus the comet could arrive any minute. I've watched this film so many times, and I still get really gripped to that finale.
I feel like they do develop the characters a little bit. I think it focuses a lot more on the concepts versus developing the characters, though. So I didn't necessarily really bond with anybody that much. I didn't really care about the town too much. I was really, I was kind of interested in how they were going to make the concepts play out. So I did have a good time at that part. Like, I was into it, just for like a different reason.
No, I get you, because like I'm kind of the same. I'm kind of like about the characters, but I like the idea of the scene. I like and I like putting myself into that situation more than anything. Just thinking, oh, okay, so what would I do if no peer, no authority was listening to me?
Yeah.
And there was a comet coming. How would I solve that situation? That's what I really latch onto. I
like how they show two versions of the end too, like one where the town gets destroyed and one where it doesn't. Or I guess the people, where the people get destroyed and one where the people don't.
Exactly, yeah.
That's cool. Though the freaking, like, the the evacuation happened so fast. It happened super fast. Like, the comet was literally falling, and then they evacuated, like, immediately when they decided to do it. I was like, what the heck? How did that happen?
It was kind of an off-screen thing as well. It was kind of like, right, okay, I guess it happened.
Yeah, they set up these stakes, and then they made them seem like there wasn't a lot of time to make it exciting. And then I was like, whoa, how are they going to fix it that fast? And they kind of cheated a little bit at the end, but whatever. You know, that's not the part that I was really interested in.
So what did you think of the open ending?
I thought that was cool. I mean, I like them. I think that they would be good together. I mean, I'm not really interested in, like, seeing their relationship, because I'm sure it would just be like a regular relationship. I mean, conceptually wise, we've already been shown that they're, like, meant to be together, because they literally get connected by the red string of fate, like, 8 times in the movie. So, like, we know it's gonna happen, right? Like, this is the exciting part that kind of happens before that, but then after that, it seems like they're gonna have a normal relationship. I think it's cool they make the girl older, though. You don't see that very often.
Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, the ending for me, I feel like it's a nice ending, but I can also understand why some people, if you're really into the relationship and you really want to see them kiss, or you really want to see them hold hands for the first time, you might be pissed off. I can understand the frustration, because I've seen a lot of anime romances where they really get you so invested in the relationship, and, like, with this will they won't they kind of thing for like, I don't know, like 12, 13 episodes. Then we get to episode 13 and they're like, I like you, the end. I'm like, so I know the anger.
Yeah, maybe they should have done something where it was like they were building up, are they going to see each other, are they going to meet each other kind of thing. Maybe they should have just, like, taken that final scene a little tiny bit further. Maybe they touch or something, and then there's a slight indication that slowly they'll start remembering stuff. Then that might be, you know, a promise to the audience that their relationship might be exciting in the future. They could have done something like that.
Maybe.
But again, I don't think that I can't imagine people being too upset about what happened, like really invested in the relationship and them not ever kissing or anything, because they get a love confession moment already in the movie, and also the relationship itself hasn't really been explored or developed that much, so yeah. I think the best you could hope for is a love confession anyway, and it literally already happens. And they swap spit, kind of, so.
Okay, that's something we should get into. I'd say the only thing that makes me uncomfortable about this film is, like, its complete disregard of consent. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Like
it's a
how,
body swapping story, so you're gonna run into that no matter what you do.
You are, but, like, when Taki is, like, told, like, 2 or 3 times by Mitsuha, please stop gripping my breasts in the morning, and he keeps doing it, you're like, and, like, yeah, and I can the saliva thing's a mixed bag, because he kind of, like, okay, that's what helps him to save the day, but he also had to, like, swallow this girl's spit without her consent, so I'm kind of like,
Yeah. Well, it's a cultural thing, you know? I was like, well,
it is, yeah.
That's a cultural difference between here and Japan, I guess, and there's not much that, you know, it's there in all of the movies, so that's something that you have to run into if you're watching anime. It's cultural differences.
It is, yeah.
Like,
yeah,
there's a number of things that I run into a lot that I'm like, okay, that's going a little bit too far for me, but I understand that it's a cultural thing.
And that's something I will give the film, is that it's, with a lot of anime films or series that get very successful in the West, it's because they've managed to, like, be a bit westernized. But with this one, they retained a lot of Asian Japanese tradition in their storytelling. And so it's kind of awesome that kind of aspect of Japanese culture was able to get out there through, like, a mainstream animated film. I think that's pretty awesome.
Anyway, enough about Your Name. I think it's time we talked about words bubble up like soda bob. Cherry is a young boy who works at an old folks club in a shopping mall. He loves coming up with haiku poems to express his feelings, but he sadly suffers from social anxiety and stage fright. One day, Cherry bumps into a teenage streamer called Smile, and they accidentally mix up their phones. Their lives then intertwine as Smile joins the old folks' home staff, where we learn that an elderly man is looking for a special vinyl of his deceased wife's song. So Cherry and Smile work together to track down this long-lost rare disc.
So Viva, what did you think of this film?
I thought that it seemed like very trendy. It seemed like it was made by like Netflix, whatever, board of directors are like, what's the things that the kids like these days? And they're like, oh, those screensavers, you know? It looks like a screensaver. The whole movie looks like a screensaver. The colors are really bright, so like if you pause it at different places, it looks nice. In terms of the story, I'm kind of surprised they did such a bad job of explaining what was going on, because it's really quite a simple story. Like, it's one of the most simple stories. It's like the most simple story out of all the movies we watched, and it was like the most confusing movie that we watched. And I was like, how did you mess up on telling the story? But yeah, I think there were some problems, things that were thrown in there just to be trendy, and I don't care for that. So it wasn't my favorite one, but I could see, like, if you don't like thinking about stuff really hard and you're like maybe 10 to 12 years old, maybe you'd have a fun time watching it.
Thanks, because this was my favorite one.
Yeah, I knew you would like this. I knew you would like this one because it's like slice of life.
It's very slice of life, but at the same time, yeah, the art style is very garish, with all its bright fluorescent colours, but for someone that grew up in the 90s, it had this nostalgic appeal for me. Like, yeah, that's what everything looked like that back then.
I grew up in the 90s too, bruh. I grew up in the 90s too. Yeah, and it was in a mall too. Like, how retro is that, right?
Oh, that's the 90s. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It was the only film out of all of them that made me cry.
Really?
Twice.
That is
Like,
insane.
yes, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
crazy. What's wrong with you, James?
Sorry, but I really liked it. I love the stake of finding a lost vinyl for this grieving old man. That was so wholesome, and I like that that's what brought the couple together. It was really sweet, really cute.
They don't really show him grieving though. Like, literally the only time they show him, I mean, he doesn't even cry in the movie, does he?
He does,
like,
once
at the
or
end?
twice. Some, I don't know, but he does cry at some points. But yeah, I like the idea. I just like the idea of these, and I love seeing these characters trying so damn hard and bringing all the characters together to try and find this vinyl. Like, that was me happy, really.
Yeah.
It was cute. But at the same time, I will say that the scene where Smile ends up breaking the vinyl, I did scream at the TV. It was like the honeycomb scene in Squid Game in that moment, except she didn't get shot. But at the same time, Smile genuinely regretted that, and she does all she can to make up for mistake. But yeah, I was, but I'll forgive her, because I feel like kids today don't get how fragile vinyl discs are.
Yeah. How did you bond with all the characters? Like, how did you? They weren't really. I just had a hard time like caring about any of them, because they seemed like they weren't characters. They were just things that people were like, oh, this is trendy with the kids. Let's throw that in there.
No, I'd say it's more than that, because I found them quite relatable, because you have one character who has social anxiety, you have one character that's very self-conscious of her braces. These are very easily relatable things for teenagers, and I liked that both characters had some kind of accessory to hide those insecurities, but throughout the film, and especially towards the end, they inspire each other to let go of those crutches. I liked that.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that they were aiming for, like, Autism Kid with the, what is it, Cherry? I thought they were aiming for Autism Kid with him, because he's got, like, the headphones, and he's got, like, he can only talk if he writes haikus and stuff, and I was like, okay, well, that's, like, wrong. You can't just be like, this kid has autism or whatever, and then he falls in love and it goes away. Like, that's not how it works. I just don't like it when they do that kind of thing, and that's, like, such a corporate way to handle it, you know? That's what I saw for him. And then for the girl, they were like, oh, kids, they like streaming, right? That makes sense. And so then they're like, we'll put it in there. But they did it like how they did the streaming in the Scream movie, where it's like, this is not how a real stream would work. She keeps on ending the stream and like starting at random times. She keeps on like moving the camera around like crazy. And also the fact that she's a huge influencer has pretty much no impact on her life. I'm like, bro, she would be legit rich if she had that many people. And they're not going to comment on that. Like, she works a regular job just like everybody else, and there's no pressure from her family, and she never has any problems with fans or anything. And I'm like, okay, you want to make her an influencer, but you don't want to comment on that, you know? There's no commentary. It's just like, oh, this one kid says that he likes her braces, and so suddenly the only problems in the world are fixed for these people. I'm like, how vapid, you know? They didn't think about this at all. That's what I got from it.
So first of all, as someone who is officially diagnosed with autism, I really don't think that this film is saying that autism can be erased. I would not go that far. I think the film is pretty much saying that people with autism can overcome obstacles. Because even though I'm autistic, it doesn't mean that I can't overcome certain anxieties and insecurities.
I will agree with the streamer thing to a point, because on the one hand, yeah, it is kind of pointless, especially when it could be used in the story a bit more. And there are some scenes where you kind of like, have people forgotten that she's really famous? Like, she kind of goes places and isn't recognized that often and stuff like that. And she never really uses her influence to help Cherry with getting his haiku out there. But at the same time, I've seen so many streamer kind of characters, particularly when it's like a female streamer, where they turn out to be really ditzy or really mean or something like that, or just way too shallow.
Oh my god, you don't think Smile is really ditzy? She's
okay,
the vinyl break.
The vinyl break.
Yeah, she like.
But I mean, like, she doesn't fall into this category of like the whole mean shallow girl kind of thing that you just see so often with a lot of streamer characters. And I like that as soon as she finds out, oh, okay, Cherry works this old people's home, she doesn't go like, ew, or boring. She's like, I'll help out. I liked that. That kind of broke one of the cliches for me.
Should someone who's super rich like that be taking a job from somebody
I don't know how
who would
rich
actually
she is,
need
that's
it?
the thing.
She is. They say how many viewers she has.
Like, does she have ads on? Does she how much revenue does she actually make from that? Where does the revenue go towards? There's a lot involved. So yeah, I say that as someone that makes money on the internet.
Yeah, I'm assuming that she makes money from it because they show that you can follow and subscribe specifically in the movie. She's also like, hey, here's this. Like, literally, there's only a couple things we know about these people. One, Smile's thing is she does streaming and she doesn't like her teeth, and that's literally it. And the boy, they're like, he can't talk to people. And she's like, okay. At the end, it's like, oh, here's this kid who can't talk to people, and he's, like, really embarrassed. I better, like, whatever, broadcast it to my millions of fans. That makes sense. That seems like something a respectful person would do.
That, yeah.
And, like, I'm sure their relationship is going to be freaking terrible after that because, like, if she has that many fans, like, the amount of death threats that Cherry Dude is going to get, like, and they know that he wants to go out because they heard it on the stream. His, like, social anxiety, is going to get terrible because he's going to get death threats every time he opens his phone.
But at the same time, he's kind of conquered his social anxiety by the end.
I don't think that's a good message to give people. I don't think you can... Things being conquered by love, that's not real, and that's, like, not a good message to give people.
Know. I like this film. I was cool with it.
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, I said that you would probably like it if you're, like, 10 to 12 years old and you don't like thinking about stuff.
Okay,
so.
Can we move on to the next film? Because I've got nothing else to say about this one. What's the next one?
Yeah. Ride Your Wave.
In Ride Your Wave, a surfer called Hinako loses a firefighter boyfriend Minato to the sea. She struggles to live on without him. Minato's best friend Wasabi and sister Yoko try to help her to move on, but the pain is just too strong. However, whenever Hinako sings a favourite song of theirs, Minato suddenly appears as a ghost made of water, and Hinako is delighted to see him again. Hinako's attachment to her water ghost boyfriend starts turning heads, and people become very concerned for her. After Hinako realises that she's become too reliant on Minato, she goes to pay her respects at his family's house, only to realise that Minato worked very, very hard to achieve his skills, and he never gave up on any of his ambitions, which inspires Hinako to keep trying in life, and let go of her boyfriend one last time.
So Viva, what do you think of this film?
This was the only other one that I actually, liked, that I would watch again. This is the only one that I would watch again, besides Your Name. I thought it was okay. I like that it's a romance movie, but it doesn't, focus on a relationship. It's like a romance movie that focuses on after a relationship, which is
it's
cool.
It's much more about letting go of that relationship more than anything.
Yeah, they probably, should have made it, they probably should have made it, a little less obvious that the boyfriend was gonna die, because even if I hadn't read the, blurb thing under the movie, they were making it pretty obvious that the guy was gonna die.
When I clicked on the Netflix thing, it showed him as a water ghost. I was like, oh right, okay.
Yeah, well, you might figure out as well from the beginning when they have a uber cheesy montage relationship thing, and they keep on being oh, how long are you gonna be there for me? And forever. Well, how long are you gonna be there though? Forever, loads of times, and I'm well, they're making it pretty obvious this guy's dead.
I did kind of start to think that because a part of me was thinking, okay, if this is going to be a romance, they're going to take things steady, but once they were nope, now they're in a relationship. Oh, okay. it's immediately into a relationship. But I'll say that Minato comes off a bit too strong at points, but I can see why. Because of his character, because he comes from a background where he's very passionate about being there for people, so I get why it'd be like that. But did you find his smile kind of creepy, or am I on my own?
I thought his whole design was creepy. I thought the art style was very unique. It took a lot of risks in this movie. For me, it made the character designs look creepy, but, that's just, they looked really stretched out. They looked really, their necks were so long. Their necks were 3 feet long.
Okay, so this one was directed by Masaki Yuasa. This is probably his most normal-looking film. I'm just saying a lot, but he's known for making very weird-looking movies, and on the strange spectrum for his films, especially artistically. This is on the mainstream acceptable, which is saying a lot.
Yeah. It looks like One Punch.
Or One Piece even. It's got because One Piece has those or Clamp. It has a bit of a Clamp look to it as well.
Oh, I'm stupid. I mean One Piece. I'm really stupid. Sorry about that. I said One Punch.
So it looks like a mix of Clamp and One Piece, because Clamp's character's usually very lanky and long. So yeah, it had that kind of a mix of those designs. I was fine with it because I like my weird designs, but I didn't like that Minato looked like Momo. That meme, that creepy girl meme.
Yeah, that's what he looked like. I was like, I don't really like this guy, but it's okay because he's gonna die in a couple minutes.
I think the other thing I didn't like about the other thing I didn't really like about Minato is that he's a bit too perfect. He's got that kind of Netflix romantic lead where it's he's the ultimate boyfriend, completely flawless, kind of he can do anything at all. He says the exact right things. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at least they actually show you.
Oh yeah,
that he works
totally,
for it,
absolutely.
That's literally the whole theme of the movie. So I can kind of forgive it for making him seem really perfect because that's
the
whole
it's
theme of
working
the movie.
towards that. Yeah, totally 100% agree. But at the same time, yeah, it's something I did notice. I was like, I can see what you're doing, film.
Yeah, I didn't really like him that much to begin with. I think the cool thing, at least for me, was that, like, I started out not really liking him that much and, like, not really caring about the relationship that much, and I had a lot of distance because I was like, I'm not even going to pay attention. I don't care because I know that this guy is dead. And then, like, throughout the movie, they kind of, like, trick you into getting more invested as the story goes on. Like, they develop it in a backwards way instead of like the usual like montage kind of thing. Like that doesn't work. But then they're the backwards storytelling about the relationship worked a lot.
Yeah, it was almost like they were
cool.
deconstructing the relationship they were in and how it couldn't work from this point. But yeah, I feel like in terms of like exploring grief and like how difficult it is to let go, I thought the film did an okay job with that.
I don't know if I would call it like grief. I feel like real grief would probably take a little bit longer to deal with than what they showed in the movie, and would probably be a little bit more difficult and stuff to deal with. But I thought that was okay because they said like at the beginning they were only together for like a year, so I was like, it's fine if they don't plunge all the way down and like explore real like deep stuff. Not to say that you can't, fall in love with somebody for a year, but I think the grieving process takes longer based on like how much you need to get over. So 1 year, she gets over it in like 4 months or something. Okay, that would make sense to me, at least.
I kind of like that it only explores one stage of the grief, though. I like that it's just about one of them because you get so many like arcs that's about like how they go for every single stage. But with this one, it's like, it's kind of like the acceptance part almost, and it's all about how she overcomes that one stage of grief.
Yeah, I guess.
Look, he's a water ghost. You can't get married.
I mean, like, he is a water ghost, though. Like, he's legit, like, he's actually a ghost, though. So she's not even... Yeah, it's interesting. It's fun. Like, she's learning to let go, but he's, like, actually there, so that's kind of different. I feel like, there's a second relationship in the movie. And I feel like that's the only relationship, literally the only relationship in any of these movies, these romance movies, that was actually developed and that I liked. That was the only one, and I was surprised. I was like, whoa, what the heck? And it wasn't even the main relationship. The sister and the,
Wasabi.
The innocent firefighter.
Yeah, Wasabi, yeah. Yeah, that was, I liked that. It was almost like they had to really get that going somewhere, but like they were building the bricks for it throughout the movie.
Yeah, I was like, they developed the characters first, and then they gave us a reason why they would be together, and then they showed us them getting together, which I feel like those are the basic things you need for people to be invested in the relationship, and like, this is the only movie that did that.
And Wasabi is also going for like his own hurdles before he even realizes, wait, okay, maybe I should be with the sister.
Yeah, it like he wraps up her thing and she like wraps up his thing, and they both together like make them like they become better together, which is how you would make someone cheer for a relationship.
So overall, I don't know how I feel about this one.
Yeah, you do. You liked it.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I did. I don't know. I really don't know what to really make of it. I feel like I need to rewatch it. I really do feel like I need to rewatch it because like I don't feel too strongly about it either way, if I'm honest.
I don't know, man. At least they actually developed the characters in this one.
Are you ready for fireworks?
Yeah.
I'm not.
You're not?
In Fireworks, two boys called Norimichi and Yasuke race to win a date with the popular girl Nazuna. Norimichi loses the bet, however Yasuke doesn't show up for the date, and Nazuna, who is already having home troubles, decides to run away, but her mother stops her. After Norimichi throws a glass pearl that Nazuna found, he gets to experience the same day all over again, but this time, he can use this what-if pearl to magically try situations differently each time. However, each wish bends time and space, with each alternate universe being different in subtle ways.
I think it's like Your Name, where it's like commenting about the nature of time and fate and free will and that kind of thing.
But why
I think it's like a poetic experience on free will.
But why is it so boring?
Fireworks?
Fireworks is so freaking... I knew it was gonna be bad because I saw the ratings everywhere. They were like, even Rotten Tomatoes was like... I knew it was kind of in for, but at the same time I didn't know I was gonna be that fed up that quickly.
I thought it was less boring than words bubble up like soda pop.
No, sticking with preferring words bubble up. I'll say it now. Fireworks was the one I enjoyed the least. Really did not like it. I didn't get it. I didn't know what I was supposed to care about. And like Groundhog Day movies are meant to be fun, but every time there's like a different kind of world, it's just the same scene in a different location with a few cosmetic changes thrown in.
My main question about this movie is like, why do they decide to make him so young? You know, and that makes it kind of creepy. It felt kind of like Moonrise Kingdom. Like I came in kind of worried about it because it seemed like anime Moonrise Kingdom, and Moonrise Kingdom is like one of my, well, it might be my number one least favorite movie of all time.
Wow.
Yeah, but you know what? I think that since they focused, like, they really didn't do anything with the relationship, like, at all, I was like, okay, acceptable. You know what? They're focusing more on free will. They're doing a poetic experience on free will versus doing a romance movie. So it was the same kind of thing as like Your Name, where it wasn't really like a romance movie.
Yeah, but it also had the characters constantly saying like, I want to be with you. This is all about me and you. And I'm like, you've never talked to each other before. I just don't get why. I'm sorry, I just didn't like this. I really didn't. I was so bored.
Yeah, well, maybe it's because it was asking you to think too much.
No.
Yeah, I think they made a mistake. I think they made a mistake with the base story that they decided to like place the real story on top of, because the repeated conversations and the like, I want to stay with you forever and stuff, I think that was mostly there to kind of help explain the real story, which was how this what if device works and what that says about free will. I think that was the story they actually wanted to tell, and then the base story was just there to kind of give you the rules of the world. Like the whole fireworks, like are they round or flat, that was just there to give you the rules of the world. And they could have done it a little bit better, you know? Like they messed up on the base story. Like they probably shouldn't have had it be the romance, because then people are coming in like wanting to focus on the romance instead of the real story. They probably shouldn't have made him so young if it was going to be a romance. And they probably should have like explained the rules of the world a little bit faster instead of repeating them a lot.
Well, I kind of get a vague idea of what it was going for with the whole like no matter how many times you ask yourself, what if I did this, what if I did that, fate's gonna go a certain way. I get that, but when you see when you watch, you realize that message very quickly, very, very quickly. So it's like, oh, so that's the lesson. Okay. Oh, so now I have to watch the same lesson 3 or 4 more times. Great.
I wouldn't really say that I came out of it feeling like it was a story that was trying to teach a lesson. Like I keep on, saying about Your Name, I think it was a poetic thing where they're exploring, like, here's all the potential possibilities. Here's all the things that could happen, like at the end when the crystal shatters and you're seeing like all these different things that could happen. I think it's more an exploration then of like the timeline and how that looks and how much control you have over it and how humans can control that.
Right, okay. If that's the case, fair enough. It did that fine, but I still didn't care. I just wasn't invested. I don't know why, because if this film was kind of going for the same thing as Your Name, why did I enjoy Your Name but not this?
Yeah, well, I think Your Name explained the story faster and more concisely than this one did. I think the big thing that they messed up on was they didn't explain their story fast and efficient enough. And I think it's because they chose the wrong base story to put it on top of.
Well, half the time, my main feeling was like, where's this going? And not in a like, ooh, this is unpredictable, but more in a like, okay, where are you going with this movie? What do you want me to feel out of this? What do you want me to get out of this?
Yeah, I think that's the wrong way to watch the movie.
Meh. I'll happily watch it again, but I don't want to.
Yeah, I think most people probably go in with like the wrong expectations of like the kind of movie that they're gonna see. It's more of like an art movie, you know, where you're not really supposed to bond with the characters that much. They're kind of just there to display a theme. So if you go in like, what's the story? What am I supposed to be caring about? What am I supposed to be rooting for? Who am I supposed to attach to? You're not gonna have a good time because that's not what the story is working towards.
If that was the case, then why isn't everyone just a blank slate? Why isn't everyone just an abstract figure?
Well, why isn't everyone just an abstract figure in your name then? Because I feel like that's how you're supposed to experience your name as well.
I guess so. Do you have anything else you want to say about this one?
Is there anything else I want to say? Oh, I really like the idea of the punishment that the two kids, like, have at the end of the movie. I think it's really interesting. I think that's a cool idea of, like, okay, well, we did this crazy thing, and now that we've had this, like, peek behind the curtain, like, this what-if machine has given us a peek into the way that the fates work, and we have this free will, and we're gonna move forward, because they have that look, and then they're like, okay, time to move forward, and they're like, they feel equipped to like go and live their lives now, you know, like they don't need the machine anymore, and they're like, I'll encounter you at some point, and I don't know what that's gonna be, and I don't need to know what that's gonna be. I don't need to control that anymore. She's like, whatever universe we end up in, like when we swim up to the top and we like come out and we start living our lives again, like I'm cool with that. I'm happy with that. I'll go along with that. I think that's cool. I feel like that was the real thrust of the story. Like that was the real direction. You know, like they're developed as characters that are like fighting, and they don't really know what their place is, and they want to control this stuff, and I feel like that's the development, the character development that the audience was supposed to be rooting for and going along with. It's just they did a really terrible job of like telling that story.
Are you ready to talk about the last film on our list, Classmates?
Yep.
Kusakabe is a cool punk rocker, and Seijo is a quiet book-smart nerd. When Kusakabe agrees to teach Seijo singing lessons, Kusakabe leans in for a kiss, and the two start secretly dating. However, it turns out that Seijo has made plans to go to an elite college, and Kusakabe lets his fears push them apart. Can Kusakabe learn to support his academically gifted boyfriend?
So what do you think of Classmates?
Was this like a real movie, or was this like a collection of TV episodes or something?
It's a movie based on a manga in a series of like, there's like a whole manga series, and it's like a different name, almost.
It's
like different
so
stages
short.
of these characters' lives.
It's so
Yeah,
short.
an hour long.
It's only like an
It's an hour
hour.
long.
Everything happens at like blazing fast speed. I was like, what the heck? Everything is happening like these two were like not in a relationship literally 5 seconds ago. I feel like it was more of a companion piece to like if you had read the book and you actually got all the development. I feel like big parts of the story were missing and the development were missing. So I think this is more like if you want to see the characters that you bonded with living, breathing, running around, saying stuff. Not really for somebody who hasn't read the book.
Yeah, I like Ride Your Wave. This is another one where kind of like I don't know how I really feel about it. Because I like the dynamic between the characters, like this free-spirited punk rocker and the book-smart, serious nerd getting together. And the film finds some cute, funny moments from all that. But like most yaoi anime, it's this frustrating double-edged sword of being really cute and really problematic at the same time. And I was kind of hoping this wouldn't be another yaoi film where someone got molested or the consent broken, but nope. I want to.
Yeah, the main dude literally only consents like 2 times in the movie.
I was when I saw like pictures and stuff, I was like, oh, that looks really cute. That looks really, really wholesome. I highly doubt they're gonna fall into that cliche. Oh, okay.
チューしていい? ダメ.
Dang it. Can anyone at all Okay, I've got a message for everyone listening to the podcast right now. If you know a yaoi where nobody gets the consent broken, please tweet it to me, because I'm trying to find one. I'm really trying to find one. But there, like I said, there are, when it's not being creepy, there are some adorable little moments. Like, I love that moment where Kusukabe like jump hugs Seijo and like says, "You're my number one." It's like little things like that are really adorable. But then a second later, it's like, "Oh no, Kusukabe, I was rooting for you."
Yeah, I feel like I didn't get much of a sense of who the characters were supposed to be and why they were supposed to be together.
Singing.
Yeah, but they only do that for like a little bit.
That's the only thing
And I thought that was like an excuse because they already wanted to be together before that, and they're like, "Oh, we'll like do this to spend more time with each other because we're already interested." They kind of suggested that, so I was like, "Oh, cool, okay." Why though? How do they make each other better?
They don't. That's another problem I had, is that like it's not a very healthy relationship at the same time. Like the every time they come to a moment where they could talk things out, they don't, and they just start yelling at each other and then cutting each other off. Yeah, I wouldn't say that this film was a good example to set teenagers in relationships, which is frustrating because you don't really get that many teenage queer relationships in anime.
Yeah,
so.
That's true. I feel like well, I hope that anybody who's looking for a queer relationship doesn't watch this for sure and have this as their guidebook, because that would be kind of like watching, like teen dramas and being like, that's going to be my guidebook. This isn't a very good relationship guidebook, and if you're looking for a queer relationship, you should definitely not put up with any of the stuff that the guys put up with in this one. Don't do that. You're you're better than that. Don't do it.
And like, at the same time, Kusakabe is not the only one guilty of it. Because there's also a very predatory teacher in the film who never gets fired for being a predator.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they made him, like, they're going to have this guy, this pushy guy, and he's just going to be one of the good guys after that? Okay, interesting. Must be a cultural thing, I guess.
What kind of annoyed me isn't just the fact that, like, he didn't get fired for what he did, but Kusakabe also comes to him to consult him about gay sex, and this teacher's like got just completely useless, and school's already completely useless when it comes to helping LGBT plus kids. So that just frustrated me even more.
Yeah, it made me feel bad because it was like, here's the only guy that he can talk to because it's supposed to be a secret, and his one option is this terrible guy.
But altogether, there's not much to really say about this film, because like you said, it goes way too fast, and it doesn't really do that much different to most high school romance anime shows I've seen before. It's just kind of like ticking boxes with the whole kind of like, oh, will we go to the same college? Oh, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess it's nice to see like a same-sex couple in that same story, I guess. But I feel like there's probably better examples of it out there.
Yeah, I thought the art was cool. Like, the art was really simple. The backgrounds were really simple, so it kind of went along with the really simple story. I'm pretty sure in the Google or wherever I read Amazon. I guess the Amazon blurb, like in the first line, it says asimple, and I'm like, yep. Asimple is correct. Everything is simple. I thought the character design for the guitar guy was pretty cool. I thought the character design for the nerd guy was super boring because literally every single nerd guy in anime looks exactly the same.
Even pushing up the glasses on it.
I know. I was like, oh my god, you're going to have this guitar guy and then you're going to make the other guy literally the most boring person ever? Come on. Design a flashy other relationship guy. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know, because wasn't the dynamic supposed to be that he was supposed to be kind of gloomy and a bit emo, so I guess it kind of fits. He's a little pale. He looks like he's not slept because he's working all the time.
Well, if he's supposed to be emo, like, there's a way cooler way you could draw an emo guy.
But does he need to be cool? Because he's supposed to feel very insecure about being boring.
Yeah, he's got to be cool because they didn't develop anything else. The only development was their character design. And being
But
like, this guy, guitar, this guy, books, and that was it.
I really like the eyes of the characters. They have very bold eyes without them looking like, generic moe eyes. They looked real. You could see their emotions a lot in their eyes. I really appreciated that.
I wish I knew what the books were like, because I really feel like most of the meat of the story has to have been in the books.
Maybe.
Like, maybe
I don't know.
Maybe there was some sort of, like, internal monologue or something that was missing that would characterize them a little bit more. Like, maybe it was kind of like the Twilight films where they seem really stupid because the internal monologue is gone that explains stuff. I feel like there's got to be something like that, though, because the movie was seriously so fast and so simple. I was like, I can't believe that this is the whole experience.
It's pretty just the year of a gay teenage student couple. That's all it is. That's all you're gonna get. If you want that, go for it.
I couldn't really recommend it. I mean, unless you wanted to see more of the characters, but you can't really get into the relationship at all because they don't talk about it.
But yeah, those are all the films we're going to be talking about.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments which is your favorite romantic movie. I've been Jamboree.
I've been Viva Becker. Have a nice Valentine's Day. Be very safe.
Yes, and whether you're going to spend today alone, with your partner or partners, we hope that you have a wonderful Valentine's. Cheerio, folks.